Hello and welcome back to, I think, not quite sure, I think it's day 4 of the spooky journal build. So we've done the main covers, we've done the tray, we've done the pockets. I've switched out the image. I found this one lurking amongst my collection. So what I've done is I've done this one, but I've also now put a tab on the image. And I've also done the same thing for this one so that you can interchange if you want to. They're backed as well so that you could use them for journaling if you so wish. So interchangeable front covers, whatever the whim takes you. So they're just being kept in those pockets. So that one's just been kept in that pocket. There are going to be some more. I've done some others as well, but I haven't put the tabs on those just yet. So you'll have, or there will be, multiple. I've got, because it's backed, it's actually quite thick, so it ain't going to move once it's in. I really love that image on that cover now. So anyway, so today it's time for signatures. Right, but what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to be stitching today. I actually want to work on the signatures as they are. So I've gone through my Tim Holtz paper collection because the whole exercise for this journal was to try and use up the millions of pieces of Tim Holtz ephemera and stickers and paper and Halloween stuff that I've got in my stash that's just hanging around for forever. That's the idea. So what I've done is I've gone through my Tim Holtz paper stash. That's what's left of the 8x8 ones. So these are the backdrops, or the worn wallpaper ones. I can't remember what these ones were called. And I've gone through and I've picked out, I only had 12 left, unfortunately. And because I've got more sides than I've got pieces of paper left, I've had to make the decision to actually create some signatures or signature panels to go on these of my own. So, plus these are not really conducive for journaling on. You can stick photos and that kind of stuff on these, that's fine if you want to do a memory book with them or with it. But for actually writing, you'd have to then stick another panel on to do some writing and some journaling on. So I thought I would just include some pages, some blank pages for actually journaling onto. So I've got, that's not a full collection of those, is it? So let's just go and see what I've got so far per each signature. So I've got this one with the kind of water damage and the fox in. There's one that's got ordinary writing lines on it in blue. They've got the cobweb. You've got a lighter one with the cobweb on as well, and just foxing. So there's 3 different types there so far. Actually just did some more this morning. So I thought, well, what about doing ones that I've got like a grid pattern on, you know, like graph paper, in case you want to do some bullet journaling. So that's what I did this morning before I started filming, is I created ones with some grid paper, but again they've still got the cobweb on. So then I thought, well, what about doing one that doesn't have the cobweb on? So I've now got a plainish one that's just got foxing and aging around the edges. That's now got a bat on as well. So there's plenty to go at. There's loads and loads of different signature panels to stick on these black signatures. And I've done a variety. So what my thinking behind all this was that the pages where I do the Tim Holtz panels on will also be the ones where I put the pockets for the tags and the journaling cards and any other bits of ephemera that I decide to do later on. And then the writing ones are going to be the main writing ones. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 sides on these. So my plan, and I'm only going to get one because they're not big enough. I'm only going to get one per sheet of Tim Holtz paper, which is a bit of a waste, but you know, it is what it is. There'll be panels left over as well. So once these are stuck in, and then I've got the when we do the pockets will go here. They'll have this space at the top, and that's going to be perfect for putting one of the craft card journaling panels as well. So you can actually journal on those. I'll explain what I'm going to do with the craft card and the panels later. And another video when we get to do the pockets and the tags and the journaling cards. So let me just do a couple. Let's just grab the first signature. Right, clear some space so I can actually breathe. So this is one of my signatures. Now originally I had 5 of these in. I might just take it down to 4, depending on how bulky the journal gets. So these signatures are cut to fit inside the book. So these are 13 centimeters by 21. That's what will fit nicely inside the book, inside that tray, once they're stitched in, and then that's glued in like so. In old money, that will measure, so I said 13 across the top there, so that's 5 1/8 by 8 1/4. Thereabouts. But that's just because of the size of the covers of the book that I chose. Whatever book size you choose, if you're making one of these yourself, that's the appropriate size page and signature that you put in. So let's grab some Tim Holtz paper. So we'll start off with the moth and the butterflies. I've just put that trimmer away again. Let's get the lighter one, the smaller one. Mainly because I've just put a new blade in this one. So 12.5. Did I say 12.5? I did say 12.5, didn't I? Oh, do you know, I haven't had enough of this yet. Oh, sorry, 13. Right, so I'm cutting these at 12.5, and I'll be cutting these panels at 20, so that they're just that little bit smaller. So 12.5 that way. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll cut it this way first. Let's just move that coffee out of the way, because I'm going to knock it over in a minute. You can tell I've only just got up, can't you? Right, so I'm going to cut this at 20.5, which is 8 1/16, or thereabouts, like I said. Now I'm going to twist it and do it at 12.5. Okay, keep a little scrap pile. We'll do the process. Right, I've just realised I've left my distressing cover at my other desk. Oh, I'll just run over to the west wing and back again. There we go. Right, distressing. Now, of course, if you're doing a spooky journal and you want it, you know, distressed and raggy and all the rest of it, then you can use decal edges. If you've got a decal edge trimmer or a decal edge ruler to tear these pages if you want to, or you can use the blade of your scissors or one of those scruffing tools if you want to scruff up and really make your journal look like it's been dug up from a graveyard. I'm a bit more tidier than that. I like my journals to be a bit more, I won't say precise because that's the wrong kind of word, newer looking. I want it to look Halloween-y, I want it to look gothic-y, but I don't want to look like it's been buried in soft peat for 6 months, if you get my drift. So yeah, we'll pick the right side for that one. That's the other thing with these double-sided papers. You've got to make sure that you've got the right side. Choose the best side, if you like. Right, so I've grabbed some glue. Did go to the shops to buy some more. Took Mum shopping the other day. So while I was there, I grabbed half a dozen tubes. But the price of it's gone right up. Used to be able to get a tube of this for 99p, which isn't a lot. It's now like £1.30 or whatever it is. I suppose it's only like an increase of about 30%, isn't it? All right, so first one goes in, and we've got just a tiny bit of wiggle room. Okay, and I really need to sort this chair out, don't I? So that's that. So on the inside, I'm going to use a couple of the new panels that I've got. So let's use a nice lined one there, and then let's use the grid pattern one. So drop all those down there, and again, although they've got that kind of faux distress around the outsides anyway, I'm still going to get rid of that raw edge because just because. So I'm using brushed corduroy as opposed to vintage photo, mainly because my vintage photo got borrowed and I just never got round to replacing it, because brushed corduroy is a very good alternative to vintage photo. I mean, if you wanted to, you could use rusty hinge or gathered twigs, but I think gathered twigs is a bit dark, as is ground espresso. And I don't know whether or not Tim's come out with any new brownish colours or neutral colours recently. I've kind of lost track of how many new different colours there are now. It used to be that, being a completist that I am, that I wanted every colour, and then when it got to like 60 odd colours, I was like, why do I want another blue? Why do I want another red? Why do I want another green? And one red is, you know, only like 2% different from the previous one or whatever. And I just thought, do you know what, I'm just not going to bother. The ones I've got, some of them are from when I first started doing cards back in 2015, 2016. And they're still juicy because they've been kept, you know, in a box. They're not exposed to the air all the time. So some of them, like the pink ones, like the candy floss, which is, it's as juicy as it was the day I bought it. So, all right, just turn that round. Right, so that's going to go in there. Now that looks as though actually there's a bigger border all the way around that page than there is on these ones, which means I've done those at 12.5 and 20.5, and I've done those at 12 and 20. But that's okay. I don't mind that. Don't mind that there's a little bit of a variance. We're not striving for perfection by any road of the imagination, to mix my metaphors. Okay, do that. Do that, do that, do that. Flip that, do that. And turn that over. Okay, so we've got that. We've got two nice little journaling pages. So let's then use, let's have a look at this one. You see, I can use that one as well, so I might as well use these last 8x8 up. Mustn't I? Let's use that one. So, don't have to cut it. What did I say? 12.5. I love this kind of greeny, tealy green, bluey, tealy green colour. Okay, it goes back in the pile. That was an easy one. Again, I'm only going to do one kind of complete signature. Well, not one complete signature, one complete folio, if you like. Just to show you what I'm doing, and then obviously because I've got 60 of those sides to do, it really is going to be one of the most boring and repetitive processes if I sit here and do, and I think I'm probably going to run out of things to say as well. And when you start to run out of things to say, you know, then you start talking rubbish. More so, before you chime in, more than I do already. There, I've said it for you. You don't have to. Okay. Flip that over. Yeah, look, I don't understand kind of why that's Halloweeny. It's just looks like liquid to me. But then, you know. Vive la différence and all that. It may be somebody's favourite out of the whole pack. And that's okay. Like I said, vive la différence. God, squeaky chair. Definitely going to have to get the Allen key out to fix it. Right, and then this one, I like the writing going down that side there. It's not quite lined up. No, that's fine. Bit of wiggle room. Okay, so that's one folio done. So that's a prime spot there and there for putting for putting pockets on if you want to. I'm going to do double pockets, but like I say, when we do the pockets, I'll show you what I mean by that. They're prime as they are. You could put little tuck spots in there if you want to. I've got this idea to do some quarter circle tuck spots. Again, we'll come on to that at a later date. But as far as I'm concerned, that is one complete folio. And I've got possibility of doing 4 to 5 per signature. But what I'll do is I'll keep on gauging the thickness of these things to see whether or not it's getting too bulky. So I'll work my way through that. I'm not bothered about the creep either because I've used black cardstock. Obviously the ones in the middle will protrude out further, or you can see that, than the ones on the outer. So the inner ones will protrude out farther. I'm not bothered about doing that. I'm not bothered about the creep in the slightest. Once it's in the journal itself and it's stitched in, it'll be about there. Even if it's the furthest one along, it ain't going to come out past the end of the actual journal itself. So the creep's not an issue. It's certainly not an issue for me. So if it is for you, trim yours before you put your panels on. It just means you have to do different size panels from the outer to the inner each time you do it. There you go. Right, so those are the signatures. I'll go away now and do all the other 19? No, 5, 15, 14, the other 14 folios. And then I'll join with you again when I'm done. Okay, so the signatures are done. So each of them has now got the writing pip. I've also done a couple of sheets of printed vellum on the spider's web as well. So obviously that's going to go through twice. So there's going to be 4 of those sheets. But I love the way you can see the layers underneath on that. It's very spooky and ethereal. So you've got plenty of journaling space, writing space. So I did end up taking out one of the larger sheets, the heavier sheets in. So when you put those all together and then include that in the tray and then insert that how it's going to go in the middle, you can see the journal's going to be already quite thick, nice and thick, and we've still got the tags and the journaling cards and the other bits of ephemera to go in there yet. So I don't want it to be too bulky even before we start adding anything else in there. So the next job before we stitch the signatures in is to add the pockets, so we can add those bits of ephemera. So I don't know whether I'm going to do pockets on every single one of these, probably not. Probably just on the start of each of the signatures, so on there and there. So I might just swap and change some of the sheets around a little bit for best effect. But that will be the next video. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create these signatures today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, then you're going to miss out on the rest of these videos. You won't get to see it finished. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.